Angry Andy Reviews.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews. Angry Andy Reviews. Angry Andy Reviews. Angry Andy Reviews.
Don't make me destroy you.
Hello and welcome to Angry Andy Reviews, and as you can see, I'm going to be talking about the apparent cancellation of Star Wars The Acolyte. Now, I'm going to say right off the bat, I'm not here to celebrate the cancellation in any way, shape or form. I'm just reacting to it because I reviewed this series right the way through. And I sat on a couple of podcasts with Mike of Genuine Chit Chat to discuss, the show, what it meant for me, how I felt about it. And yeah, to be fair, I didn't like it. But at no point was I ever sort of, wishing for outright cancellation or anything like that. I just simply didn't like it. It meant nothing to me, and it still doesn't. But overnight, this news has sort of broken that The Acolyte has been cancelled by Deadline. It should be said. Where they got the information from, it's up in the air, I guess. But they seem to be running with the notion that it's been cancelled. They do label it as an exclusive, and to be fair, it literally says the story of the Acolyte will not continue. Lucasfilm opting not to proceed with a second season of the Star Wars offshoot starring Amanda Stenberg. Sources tell Deadline. So word of the decision comes more than a month after the 8-episode first season of the series from creator, director, executive producer, and showrunner Leslie Headland wrapped its run on Disney Plus. The news is not entirely surprising. It goes on and says The Acolyte did okay with critics, with 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, it's fair enough. 78%, isn't it, from a critic score? But divided Star Wars fans, which reflected in its overall viewership. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because obviously there's been a lot said right the way across the board about how people have reacted to this, what their opinions are and what they've said and whatever. I don't agree with a lot of the opinions, if they're aimed directly at the people in the show. For me, it always has been quality of writing, quality of storytelling, quality of direction, quality of the cinematography. All of this, which I've said in all of my reviews that I've done, I don't believe that at any point the show was well written. At any point, I think it was really poorly written. And for me, from speaking to my friends who are casual Star Wars fans, if that, to be fair, they started this show along with me. They all dropped off at one point or another. They all left. They all didn't come back. And that, for me, from a small focus group like that, was a really big fucking issue. From other people I've talked to who've gone through the show in its entirety, that are hardened Star Wars fans to a degree, some of them have been on the cusp of wanting to leave and not come back to it either, which is the same thing for me. If it wasn't a case of doing the reviews, I think I would have stopped halfway through. I said this to Mike of Genuine Chit Chat when we were discussing it all in the finale. And I think that fundamentally is the problem here. So it goes on to say, driven by interest in the venerable space franchise, which, as soon as something Star Wars is created, we're all in. We all want the best from Star Wars, don't we? The Acolyte got off to a strong start. It's underlined there. Oh, it's because it's a link. Lol. When it launched June 4th, with 2 episodes generating 4.8 million views in its first day on the streamer, to rank it as the biggest series premiere on Disney Plus this year. Right? The tally rose to 11.1 million views globally after 5 days of streaming, corroborating Disney's data. The series made its debut on Nielsen's top 10 originals chart in its premiere week at number 7. 488 million minutes viewed. Now that is the figure that Disney, Netflix, Amazon, fucking Apple, Paramount, they're all after minutes viewed, climbing to number 6 the following week. So that is it. They're all after this. They're all after audience retention. But The Acolyte could not sustain the momentum, dropping out of the top 10 in week 3, staying off before returning at number 10 after the release of the finale, 335 minutes, believed to be the lowest for a Star Wars series finale. That is where and why this show has been cancelled. This is why there's not going to be a series 2. They'll probably come out in a few days and so and say, oh, there was never any plans for a series 2. But the fact of the matter is, Leslie Headland mentioned and said that they had plans for a season 2. The way the season ended was on a massive cliffhanger with cameos, story beats, and plot threads that hadn't been finished, that hadn't been finalised. Everyone stood in different places throughout the galaxy. There's even a part where May is confronted by that Jedi Master and she says, will you help me find your sister? That's a plot thread that they're going to carry on with. You can't tell me there was never any plans for a season 2. I don't believe you. Of course there was. And here, like there it literally says there, like fellow global streamers Netflix and Prime, Disney Plus has a high viewership threshold for renewing high-end big budget series that cost well above 100 million per season to make. Now, I found a couple of images on X. X is an awful place at the moment, but here you go. So Andor, right? So Acolyte there, right across the average. It's bottom of the list with 9.3 million views per episode there. Andor at 9.9 million views per episode. But the difference is in the episode count and the amount of hours watched. It's the amount of hours watched. I mean, the budget was extraordinary there. 250 million dollars viewed. I mean, I'd love somebody to work out the math, what the difference is here. 12 episodes versus 8 episodes versus, a total runtime and all this crap. Somebody else figure it out. But, I think fundamentally, it's here. It's this. So it falls below Andor, average minutes per episode watched. It falls below Andor. So the audience retention dived away massively, whereas Andor stayed within the same regions. It stayed within the same region of viewership. You had consistent viewership right the way across the board. Andor, for whatever reason, somehow survived the cull, but I think it survived the cull probably because it was at the right place at the right time. Now, with everything that's happened over the last couple of years, Disney wants bang for buck, don't they? They really do. Nothing has really hit over the last couple of years. Your Marvel, even some of your Disney films just haven't hit. So they're looking for pure and utter success. And it literally says there as well. In interviews, Headland had revealed that she had pitched ideas for a second season, showing hopes for a renewal. So it's there. That's why this rhetoric of it has been cancelled is there. Because there were hopes for more. Right, there were hopes for more. Every show ends a season with hopes for more. Game of Thrones wanted more. However, it was agreed that we'll do X, Y, and Z. We'll have this many. Whatever. So, Lucasfilm, first and most successful to date Disney Plus series The Mandalorian is carrying on, crossing over to features with the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu Ahsoka. The company series that preceded The Acolyte has been renewed for a second season. I mean, it just goes on there to say, more about the show. But fundamentally, the reason why this show has been cancelled is quite simply, fundamentally, the people tuned out and they turned off. They stopped watching. That's it. Disney is now catering to no one except their bottom line. Fundamentally, they don't give a shit what I say. They don't give a shit what anybody else says on the internet. If they wanted to go full hell for leather with this, they would have done. And they committed to it during the season, going up against all this awful rhetoric that was coming out. Some of the comments, like I said, that I don't subscribe to, I don't agree with whatsoever. Like, they battled against it. They completely battled against it, and rightly so. They did the same in Kenobi, when we had that whole, awful situation with the racist comments being made to that actress. Rightly so, they should battle against that kind of rhetoric. Good writing and good storytelling is fundamentally the principle for me. Good acting, good directing. Those are the things that I look for. For me, with this series, there was none of that. Absolutely none of that. And it shows with general audiences who trailed off and stopped watching, which led to this show being the lowest rated on this Nielsen rating. I don't know the fundamentals of the Nielsen rating. I'm British. We have the BBC telling us everything's great and that's it. But, the numbers are there. The numbers are there. And if it's not tracking, if it's not making money, then of course they're going to bin it off, aren't they? Of course they are. Every streaming service, every TV service, from HBO to CBS to fucking CW, if your show's not being watched by people, it's not going to carry on, and it will get culled, and rightly so, regardless of how great it is. We've had it before in the past with Firefly, the TV show. Everybody was loving it, everyone was loving it, but then it got cancelled because nobody was watching it. Because what was happening was people were watching it on recording services that had just come in or whatever it was. It doesn't matter. If people aren't watching it, normal people aren't watching it, or they tune out, it's not going to go anywhere. That's it. That's the fundamentals for the show, I'm afraid. And it's been cancelled. It's cancelled. So take away whatever you want from that. It'll be interesting to see where Star Wars goes from this. Obviously, like I said, Mandalorian and Grogu film is coming. We have that Rey movie coming as well. So I would hazard that Disney are going to be going all in on making sure those two films meet the perfection that is required and that we hope is there. And obviously you've got Ahsoka season 2. Whatever's going to happen with that, we'll have to see as well. And then obviously you have Andor season 2. And we'll have to see what happens with that, because, you know, Andor, as much as I loved it, it does surprise me that we got a season 2, to be quite honest with you, given that the numbers were so low. But, you know, they're not as low as the Acolyte. That's it. And I think this will be probably a series where Disney starts maybe looking at their options and what they do going forward. Maybe they do need to take a break. I don't know. Maybe they do need to focus on big event movies again, like we had in the past, and just focus on that and make that work. But we'll have to see, won't we? Let me know your thoughts on this. The thoughts are going to be all over the place. I had a look on Twitter, X, whatever, and it's, oh God, some of the rhetoric is fucking dire, isn't it? What a dreadful place that is at the moment. But yeah, I mean, there are people out there that are talking common sense, that are looking at the numbers, that are looking at, you know, what it actually means, like what this article sort of says. Like, I mean, it's a bit clickbaity, isn't it? The article, let's be honest with you. But numbers don't lie at the end of the day, and there are people out there looking at the genuine numbers, like those pictures I pulled up. You know, trying to make sense of this, why logically it has been cancelled, or at least they're not going to move forward with any more. And that fundamentally is the most important thing. I don't give a shit if you're celebrating it because you're happy that there's not going to be a show with a black lady in it. I don't give a shit. You're a horrible person if that's the way you're looking at it. But it's all about Disney's bottom line. That is what they're looking at the minute. They've made millions of losses over the years. They want to turn things around. If it ain't working, it's gone. They're doing the same with theme park aspects. They're binning off certain things and focusing on other things. Movies, they've gone all in on big sequels to big movies, as we saw with the D23 announcement. So it's there, isn't it? It's all there. Numbers don't lie, and Disney wants to make money overall. So let me know your thoughts, like I said. What do you think about all this? What do you think about the news? What does it mean to you? Are you surprised? Are you not surprised? Are you shocked? Are you happy? Are you happy for the cancellation? Again, let me know. Just don't come here with awful rhetoric, opinions and comments. I don't want any of that. That's not what this channel's about. The name may well be Angry Andy Reviews, but I'm not here to lambast people for their colour, their religion, or anything like that. I'm here to talk good writing, good directing, good storytelling. That's what I'm here for. Alright? And if it ain't that, if none of that fits, then I get angry. Alright? So let me know your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.